Jordan Peterson? Could he out-argue you?
Peterson and I have an interesting relationship. I believe the enemy of my enemy is my friend. However, I do believe he's a hypocrite. I think it's very difficult to sit and talk about mental rigidity and how you should be a man who is unafraid of the horrors of the world and then end up addicted to antidepressants. I think that's hypocritical personally. He also talks very slowly, which is why he would always lose in an argument to me, because he's too slow and I'm very fast. Speed wins. Trust me. I've been in the cage. I know. So, and he knows that. So he would never want to debate me. But I guess it depends what we're talking about. If he wants to talk about the intricacies of some old philosopher, some book he's read, I've never read the book. Maybe he could perhaps pull off a semi-interesting point. But then I also believe I'm quick fire, bro. I'll tear Mars. That's no big deal. But yeah.
What about Elon Musk? Did you see him rinse that journalist on the BBC?
Amazing.
That was fucking genius.
It was amazing. And it's amazing also how I like to believe I've been a huge component or a very important part of the Matrix cracking, because I do think it's actually cracking now. Only the very stupid believe anything the MSM says anymore. Anyone with a brain has woke up and realized that everything is a lie. Everything is a lie. Education's a lie. Judicial system's a lie. The news is a lie. Money's a lie. Everything's a lie. Everything you were taught in education was a lie. All of it.
Jordan Peterson called you reprehensible. And only losers...
Wait, stop. Wait. My heart is broken, please.
Only losers love Andrew Tate.
Oh, my heart is broken. Oh, no, not Jordan. Not Jordan Peterson. Never cleaning my room again. Give a shit. Who cares? You know what? I don't watch any... You know what I find really great? These nerds, both conservatives and liberal alike, because they're all nerds. They make videos try to like take me down. I think it's so funny. Imagine spending 4 hours editing a video. Interesting. I don't watch it. I'm busy. I don't know what they say, and I don't care, and I don't watch it. I have no idea what they say. I don't. Cool. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I have nothing against Jordan. I'm not emotional about these things. I genuinely have nothing against Jordan. I could sit and argue with Jordan. I could enter the cage and beat the shit out of him, or I could shake his hand and be his best friend. Whatever he wants, I don't care. What do you want to do, friend? Hi, Jordan. You want to fight to the death? Or do you want to speak on the same stage, on the same side? Or do you want to debate? Or what do you want? I'm not emotional about this. It's no big deal to me.
Could a good, thorough debate between you two be something that would be a
I think it would be boring.
Challenge?
I think it would be boring. Because
Why?
I think we agree on most things.
Right.
I think we agree on everything. And I don't think there'd be a debate because we don't actually disagree. The only disagreement is that I think, and again, this is as someone who's watched very little of his work, but I see clips, etc. He's very intelligent and speaks from a philosophical thought point of view. I think he's very in his mind. There's a lot of thinking. And I am very action-based, and there's a lot of action. I feel like if there's a problem, his answer will be to think certain ways, and my answer will be to do certain things. I always believe in action over everything. I don't believe in stopping and thinking and reading a book from a psychiatrist and pondering why I decided to fuck that girl. Go out, get chicks, boom, get to it. So I feel like he's far more thought-based, I'm far more action-based. Perhaps we could argue about the methods towards success for that reason. But all in all, I think we agree on most things. The only thing I've ever genuinely disagreed with him about was his tweet on Israel. And Ben Shapiro, I don't know how he reaches the keyboard. He must have he's down here somewhere in his booster seat. He was typing. Yeah, go to war, yeah, go to war. But he's such a nerd. Both of them were the things they said about Israel I thought were reprehensible. That's the only time Jordan said anything I truly disagreed with. Do I think... I'm going to let him off here. Do I think he's evil? No. I think he just emotionally reacted to a situation without thinking, and I think he understands how it looks, and he regrets it, and we all make mistakes. So I don't hold it against him. But I have nothing against Jordan Peterson. I think if you listen to Jordan Peterson, you're going to be a better person overall.
Huge news, years in the making. My brand new book that my publishers refuse to publish. Money Matrix. Beat the money system and build generational wealth. Understand the 3 main ways that the banks productize you and make money from you. You'll be able to turn that system against itself, build generational wealth and multiple streams of recurring income. It's all at moneymatrix.cash. And if you're quick, the first few hundred registrants and buyers will receive many special bonuses from me. The brand new Moneymaker Summit 3-day special event. Meet me at a champagne reception. Meet me at a multi-millionaire networking dinner. Go now, moneymatrix.cash. This is huge.
If you can emotionally control somebody, I'll tell you who's excellent at this. Women. Women are fantastic at this. If a woman realizes she can piss you off with X thing, she'll notice it. She'll keep it in her pocket. You know what? That annoys him. Cool. Sorry, baby. Sorry. 3 weeks later, 2 months later, they realize when you're vulnerable.
I get at least one text message a day of a screenshot of some dude telling some girl somewhere in the world, I'm sorry it's come down to this. There's so much about you I'm going to miss. And look at that song. You know, telephone rang about 8:45. She heard his voice on the other end of the line and wondered what was wrong this time. This man is living on the road. He's like these guys that we talk about that aren't appreciated. This is a truck driver. This is a guy in the construction business. This is a guy out on the road trying to build an empire for his family to have a legacy. Every man's got his own rodeo.
Sometimes life can really hijack your mind. When that happens to you, you're all f***ed up. Your goals, your ambitions, everything is out the window. In life, we all go through different things. Sometimes your girlfriend or boyfriend breaks up with you. Guess what? Get the f over it. They no longer want you. Maybe you failed a test in school. You worked your ass off. Guess what? You failed the test. Get over it. Move past it. Learn to not let life hijack your brain.
I can tell you this. I can tell you the experience from fighting. When I was fighting, I was a kickboxing world champion, right? I never made millions from fighting. So I was making money, but I mean, I was probably fighting 2 or 3 times a year. And most I ever got paid was 100, 150 grand a fight. So I was kind of normal life. And whichever girlfriend I had at the time, no matter what, she always managed to start some asinine, stupid, immature fight with me like 3 days before a fight. Because I'm weight drained. I haven't eaten. I'm nervous. I can't sleep. I've been training for 10 weeks. This monster's from Kazakhstan, some psycho. I have toilet seat. I'm like, the toilet seat. I might die. He can kill me. But she knew that's when I was weak. She knew it. And that's when you can be emotional, but they detect it. This is when I can get it. I think the reason a lot of men want to become rich is because they want to feel loved or feel important or to matter. Mm-hmm. I also feel like the reason that a lot of men do the things they do is for love, either of themselves or of someone else. I think the reason men go to work is because they love their family. The reason you go to the gym is because you love yourself. That's how it goes. I've been head over heels in love with women. I didn't want to lose them and they weren't listening. So I walked away and they didn't chase me and I lost them. But that's it. My honor's intact. My pride's intact. And now I don't give a fuck anymore because time's a hero. That's life. So It's better than staying in a relationship, which I'm not happy in because she starts acting like
At work, you've been working your ass off for that new promotion. You don't get it. Someone else does. Maybe they kiss better ass than you do. Guess what? Get over it. Life will hijack your mind if you let it. Don't allow all these things to make you a lesser person. You must own your mind. Don't let life own yours. Get after it, stay hard. And it's kind of like, I use chess analogies a lot, but it's kind of like chess. If you're playing a game of chess and you're in a losing position and the only hope you have of winning is a big sacrifice, you give up your queen and you don't know if it's going to work or not, but it's the only hope. You're better off making the sacrifice even if you lose, because if you don't, you're just going to slowly get ground down and definitely lose in the end. Right. Like, do you love you so much you'd rather delay the breakup by 7 months and lose without any pride or honor? Yeah. And leave without any pride or honor while she cheats on you? Isn't it better just to say right hand in the air, you're not talking to that guy anymore? Like, the end is coming. If she chooses to talk to that dude over you, the end is certain. So can you have enough balls to just say bye and at least leave with your head held high?
You know, she wondered what his cause might bring. With a cowboy like him, it could be anything. I was a cowboy, just a steel cowboy. Just chasing these jobs all over the country, man. You know? And of course it goes into the other parts, you know, where she's like, I found somebody new, and he's saying he sure ain't no rodeo man, you know? And so right there, he has a decision. He can either argue and beg and all this other stuff, or he can leave that phone dangling off the hook, give it one last look, and just walk away.
What you have to do when it's not working with a girl is wish them luck, to give them the best of luck, wish them luck, walk away, and don't look back.
And that particular part is a part that I assume that you're talking about. And that, my friend, takes what we in the war room call an iron mind. At that point in the relationship, if that boundary is crossed, you can non-emotionally say what you have to say and say, listen, it's either going to be this way or it's not. And a woman is either going to have to respect you or lose respect for you. And that respect is going to be held within whether you can hold your ground or not.
No, I don't want to go home. No, now I actually want you to go home. Please leave my house. Oh, no, I didn't want to leave. Bye. Goodbye. Fuck you. Next girl. So they get you when you're weak, right? Yeah. And anyone who can emotionally control you and emotionally affect you has power over you.
I've done it, and I've lived through the pain of it. And you just have to ask yourself, whose will is stronger, me or this 100-pound woman who is naturally, genetically more emotional than me? Am I going to let her beat me at a game of will and strength of the mind when I know that she's naturally more emotional than me? That, and understand that if you start contacting her or blowing her phone up or watching her stories or phoning her mom and doing all of these things that are emotional actions, she's naturally going to be less attracted to you.
I have a question about the warrior mentality. I recently was dumped on a deployment, and it's difficult now that I'm home stateside. How does a warrior handle this? Is it like any other emotional loss? I'm trying to use this loss and get after it and improve myself mentally and physically.
And so, agree. Sometimes you can keep it at bay when you're deployed, but then when you get home and you get back to the places, the familiar places where you have the specific memories, that's where the pain starts to come in. And that's fine. That hurts. We get that. But in my opinion, I've said this before, the person that you built in your mind, the person that you had a relationship with that you built in your mind, that person doesn't actually exist. They're not real. They're not real. She wasn't who she appeared to be. And she isn't who she appeared to be. She isn't the sweet, understanding, fun person that you cared so much about. That's not her. That's your memory. That's what you built in your head. She is actually the selfish, self-centered person that cares about herself first and doesn't care about you. That's the reality. And that's fine.
And you're going to push her further and further and further and further away until she lands on something you don't want her to land on. And that's the dude down the street, right? So you have to know that it's going to take an iron will in mind to be able to do this, because there's no pain greater than heartbreak. But you're not doing yourself a service by begging a woman to come back or catering to her breaking the rules of your frame, because she's not going to respect you if you can't be strong enough to have her be inside your frame. So I do believe respect equals love, and any man that wants to garner respect for a woman, particularly in a breakup, needs to be able to leave the phone dangling off the hook.
And you're still going to get those emotions. Those things are still going to hit you, but walk away and don't look back. And there's two reasons for that. Number one, if there's any chance that it's going to work out, the best possible way for you to get it to work out is by walking away, by wishing them luck, walking away, and don't look back. That's the best way.
How so?
Because if there is something there, then she will let you know eventually. And if there's nothing there, you're going to know that too, because you never hear from her again. That's fine. The protocol for getting her back is to walk away and don't look back. That's the protocol, is to move on. The protocol, if she doesn't want you back, is to walk away and don't look back. So look, and I know it's hard, but you'll get some of those waves, but those waves will become less frequent and they'll become less powerful, and eventually you can move on. And then, the last thing I'll say about this is, in both these scenarios, is remember but don't dwell. But a lot of times the pain that we feel isn't based on the reality. It's based on the fantasy. So you're feeling pain of losing something that wasn't real. So let the fantasy go. Remember that she is not the perfect person that you built in your mind. Period. She's not. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in this situation right now. And then move on, brother. Get after it. Work out. Train hard. Go to jiu-jitsu, hike, run, play guitar. Just get after it. And those things, not only are they going to distract you from the pain, which is good, they're going to improve you as a human being, which is good, and they're going to rebuild your confidence, which is good. They're going to make you feel good. They're going to make you stronger and smarter and better and put you into a place where you don't need that little made up fantasy anymore.
I like to say if a woman is treating you wrong, if you've got, all the shit that happens to you, it's because of you. So how does the man become the guy that doesn't have this shit happen to him?
I 1,000% agree with you. Men, they respect. Mm-hmm. That's it. They like, they love, and they respect. If she loves you and likes you and doesn't respect you, she will not have sex with you. I have women who respect me and fucking hate me, but they're here every time I call. So if they respect you, they're going to sleep with you. Yep. And this is something that's biological and evolutionary. They respect. So how do you make women respect you? Well, first you have to be worthy of respect as an individual. There's no hack. If you're worthy of respect, you're worthy of respect. But secondly, you cannot allow blatant disrespect. So if you allow her to blatantly disrespect you and you tolerate that, then you're setting a precedent, which means, well, why would I respect this guy in the first place? Right. From the second you got together, you should have been a man, and you haven't got to be an asshole. You haven't got to be aggressive. I'll sit with a girl and very politely say, look, if we're going to be in a relationship, if I'm going to take you seriously, you're not going to have male friends. If you want to hang around with a whole bunch of men, then I'm not going to take you seriously. I lay it on them. Now, if they choose to keep all their male friends, then that means she's chosen those friendships over me, which means sooner or later she was going to cheat anyway. Like, how long until she jumps on a dude anyway? So why would I even be upset about it?
Just walk away. Yeah. Catch that rodeo cowboy. Because guess what? In a few years, when you win the rodeo, the phone's going to ring again. Then it's up to you what to do. Right. Right. And you can shock a woman that way. I've had conversations like that. It's like, you know what? I don't even act like a hard ass. I'm really going to miss you. I'm really going to miss you. Take care. And she's like, wait, what? That's it? Cold.
Honor your friends. You remember what they gave you, what they taught you, what you learned from them, what was great about them, what you miss about them. You remember all those things, but you don't dwell in the past and dwell on those thoughts and dwell on the loss all the time, because that's not healthy either. And it's not going to help you. And it's not what your friend would want you to do anyways. That's another Petersonism from his Rules for Life. He says, if memories still make you cry, write them down. Yep. That's I talk a lot about being able to detach from your emotions, and it's very important. Well, when you write something down, you are literally detaching from those thoughts because they're going out on a piece of paper that then you can see. So it's a very important thing to do, to write down if there's emotions that you have to deal with, write down. And I just like to give someone some kind of an objective. So instead of just saying write down the emotions, no, write that person, tell them, and that will kind of be like a writing prompt. Certainly writing down your emotions, your feelings, what you're going to miss, what you loved about them is very therapeutic, and it's very good. And so that's another thing I recommend is you write that stuff down and you bring it to them.
Gotta be a G, bro. That's the game. The hard part about this world, like, people complain about women, but I think being a man, you actually have a better shot. Because a lot of times women, they get all of their value at early. They get beauty. And that is a currency in this world. Beauty is a currency. So they get all their value at an early age and they get this beauty. But as a man, you're not guaranteed to ever have value, but you have the opportunity to rule your own world. And what's tricky and harmful or hard for women, I believe, and why I feel sorry for women sometimes, like, I don't think women have it easy, is because they can go conquer the same things that we went to conquer, except they've disqualified themselves from men. A woman that makes a bunch of money might as well be 6'4". Like she puts herself out of the dating pool because of hypergamy wants you to go to a cross or up. Mm-hmm. So the more financially successful she gets, the harder it is to find a date to prom because she's taller than all the boys.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's fair. I believe women in the workplace are fucking phenomenal. I'll be the first one to say that. I feel for them because they run into that scenario. And that particular young lady will probably have to go so high up the pecking order that once she finds a guy that she can submit to like that, he's probably going to have multiple women.
And they're going to put you in a place where you're going to find something better than the fantasy. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, the fantasies don't exist. The perfect girl or guy for you doesn't exist. They don't exist. So you're going to be out looking for someone that's good, but you're not going to find perfect. Don't get obsessed with finding perfect. If you find someone that's perfect, it's not true. Everyone's got their flaws. So that's what you have to do. And you will end up finding someone that's real. And I get it, man. I know you're going to have some moments down in the hole, as Alice in Chains put it. Or trapped in the heart-shaped box, as Nirvana put it. Or so lonesome you could cry, as Hank Williams Sr. put it. You notice a theme here? This is what people go through. But those feelings, they're temporary, so let them say hi. Let them hang around for a minute or for half an hour or an hour or whatever, and then kick them out. Kick those feelings out. Get them out of there and go do something else.
And this is the point. But most men don't say anything. They let it slide and they let it get completely broken. And they come to me and say, well, how do I fix it? It's like, well, you have to make it not let it get broken in the first place. You need to understand your boundaries and expectations as a man. And you have to set them. And you have to make sure she complies and sticks to them. And if she doesn't, you're going to have to find somebody else. Yeah. And this is another thing I talk about being a playboy. I have lots of guys come to me and say, oh, Tate, but I don't want to be a playboy like you. I say, look, if you want to be happily married, the best thing you can be first is a playboy.
Yeah.
The best thing you can do, because you're going to learn a whole bunch about women. You're going to have a whole bunch of choices to choose for a wife. If you're stuck with one option, the one chick you met, you know, then it's good. She might be a dickhead. So, like, being a playboy is important. But yeah, absolutely. For setting your boundaries and stuff and making sure you're not respected, the key is this as a man. This is the bottom line. Most men are not prepared to walk away.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yep.
And if you're not prepared to walk away, you don't have any weapons. If she knows no matter what, you won't leave, then what weapons do you have? Anything you say, shouting, screaming, yelling, going out away for a few days, whatever. She knows you're going to come back. You have no weapons. The second, imagine a girl came to you and she said, no matter what you do, no matter how many times you cheat, no matter what, I will never leave.
Right.
Think of all the shit you do. I know I do.
Yeah.
So this is the point. So as a man, if you're never prepared to walk away, you're never going to be respected.
Is it fair? No, sir, it's not fair. Is life fair? No, sir, it's not. She'll also break a bunch of hearts of men that tried on the way up. It's quite the predicament that we're in. And I don't think there's a good or bad side in the situation. But as a man, you need to be able to walk away. You need to be able to keep your respect for yourself, and you need to go work on you, because begging a woman back or catering and negotiating will never work. It is just simply a shit test that you will lose in. And I have no hate in my heart for women. I genuinely believe that.
And the woman thinking, you know what, he might just leave, are linked. They have to be there. So you have to mean what you say. You have to let her know, look, there's some things I won't tolerate. And if I'm going to walk away. And if you walk away and she doesn't chase you, then she's gone. At least you saved yourself a nasty divorce and getting cheated on and all that shit. Just end it then and there and save yourself a bunch of time. But men are too afraid to pull the plug on it. I can leave any chick because I got 10 more.
Yeah.
So if she doesn't act right, I'll just replace her for the night and I'll feel better by the next day. I go through a breakup a week. I'm used to it. I don't give a shit. And it's just like, this is part of the game. So you have to be prepared to walk away as a man. So you have to look at any relationship you're in and say, okay, I'm a nice guy. I love her. She loves me, but I have boundaries. And if she fucks with them, I'm going to have to walk.
Take your mind away from those memories of fantasies and build some good memories that are real. then yeah, you know what? You can use your anger and your frustration to fuel positivity for sure. I spent much of my youth doing that very thing for sure. All those breakups. Yeah, I turned those things into fuel. And the other thing I'm telling you is if you take action with your body, your mind's going to follow. And I was in a SEAL platoon. That's when you're dealing with guys going through the breakup with the girl and the
messing with my head, man.
Yeah, it's messing with my head, man. Yeah, of course. Every guy goes through that. Me, you, that's the way it is. You get that weird thing kicking around in there and you start getting crazy. And what's so funny is when you're on the outside of it, it's so like, when you're in the heart-shaped box yourself, you just can't see anything else. It's just devastating. Yeah. And everyone that's looking at you is like, bro, let's just go to the bar tonight. You'll meet 17 new girls tonight. Yeah. But I like them back. That was my girl. That was my special girl. No, it's not. Yeah. I remember I kind of had this is kind of evil, but I had a kind of a standard response to guys when they'd say, hey, I broke up with Jennifer last night. I'd be like, oh, sweet, man. Let's roll. I would always, and I even carried that, honestly, this is like not something I don't think I would do anymore, but even when guys would be like, hey man, me and Jennifer are getting divorced, I'd be like, oh, right on, bro. Congrats. Let's rock and roll. I kind of, and part of it was just to kind of spin it like, guys, man.
It's not the big deal.
It's not you don't just wallow in it. Yeah. Right? You're getting divorced. Okay. Here's what you need to do. Here's how you maneuver. But what are you going to do? You're going to get dragged down by that into that mire, or are you going to, salvage what you can of your life and let's move on. Let's rock and roll.
These men have never been through any kind of emotional trauma. So the idea of breaking up with a woman is big to them. I've been through, when you've been through real shit, a breakup just doesn't become that real anymore. I've had people try to kill me. I have stab wounds. Tell me again about this girl who doesn't text you back. Like, who gives a shit? There's people in Syria getting bombed.
Yeah.
You have to get some perspective and just realize you're being there's real trauma out here in the world. Terrible things happen day after day. And here you are, alive and breathing and perfectly healthy, and you're going to cry over something. Just man up.
I think heartbreak is designed to teach you lessons. I think everything bad that happens to you as a man is designed to teach you lessons. I think that's why God gives them to you. You're never going to be a good man unless you've suffered. Good men have been through a lot of bad things, and you have to realize why she left or why your heart is broken so that you can change certain things and grow.
I think that the worst men on earth are the ones who haven't had enough pain. You're supposed to suffer as a man. You're born to suffer. The whole reason God put men on this planet is to suffer. And the best men are the ones who suffered the most. I wouldn't be top G if I didn't suffer more than anyone else. You're a better man than everyone else if your life was a mess and it was a hardship, because you're not what happens to you. You are how you react to it. And the best men on earth are men who have had their parents die, their best friends betray them, their girl betray them, thrown in jail, their money stolen, stabbed, robbed. And every time something happened to them, they sat there and they looked in the mirror and said, what can I learn from this? How can I stop this happening? Those are the best men. Those are the men respect. Those are the men women want. Why do women love scars? Look, they tried to kill him and they can't. That's why I want him. The best men suffered. You find a man who's never been through suffering and nobody gives a shit about him. Men don't like him and women don't like him. Men are no good without it.
If you're an intelligent person and you crash your car, you sit and say, how did this happen? Was I driving too fast? No. Whose fault was it? Well, an amateur will say it's their fault. They came speeding out at me. But a professional will say, no, they came speeding out at me. Why couldn't I avoid them? Why couldn't I move? Why didn't I see it? Why am I on this road in the first place? Like, a professional analyzes everything from a position of what they could do about it, having control over all things. And it's the same with heartbreak. If you ask an amateur why his heart's broken, well, she left me because of blah, blah, and he'll just blame her like a dumbass. She's arrogant. She doesn't listen to me. Her friends convinced her to cheat. She wants this, that, instead of saying, I don't have what it takes to keep her. I don't have what it takes to talk in a way that makes her not want to listen to her friends. I'm not important. So if you self-analyze everything, then everything happens for the same reason. No matter what bad thing happens to you, including heartbreak, it all happens for the same reason, for you to analyze and get feedback. If you were more important and more successful, she was less likely to leave you. That's the truth. The thing about life is you become a better person via feedback. You don't ever become a better person via anything else, especially not practice. People say practice makes perfect. And that's the biggest mistake, because it's not true. Because I often get asked, Andrew, how do you speak the way you speak? And I say, well, feedback. And they say, well, you've practiced, right? Well, everyone practices how to talk. There's people who've been alive 30 years longer than me, who've been practicing to speak longer than I have, who don't speak the way I speak, for example. It's just an example. You have to feedback. You have to watch yourself talk. You have to see where you've made mistakes. You have to see where you say, like. You have to remove it consciously. You need feedback to improve. So if a woman left you, that's feedback. Learn the lessons and make sure it doesn't happen again. Or sit and blame her and pretend it's nothing to do with you and then wait for it to happen to you again, because it will. That's how life works. Like, feedback I got from jail or my father dying or heartbreak or being stabbed or whatever it is, all of these things happen for you to learn from them. And everybody in life has these events and everybody in life has these traumas they can learn from, but most people are too stupid or too arrogant or too cowardly to sit down, blame themselves, look in the mirror, analyze the entire situation as if it was their fault, and see what they can do to prevent it from happening again. If I get wet in the rain, I blame myself. Why didn't I bring an umbrella? Why was I outside? Why was the car not nearer? Why didn't I check the weather? It's all me. Whereas the average person goes, why are you wet? It rained. And it's not their fault because the sky rains. It's not my fault. I can't stop the sky raining. Whereas I believe I could have stopped myself getting wet even if I can't stop the rain. It's a mentality.
Heartbreak teaches you the power of understanding that in life, things will always get better if you try to make them better. There were girls who I dated when you were still a baby. So let's say I was 20 years old. And she was 19 years old, I was 20 years old, and we broke up for whatever reasons. This particular girl got some job where she had to move to London. And I was upset about it. If the heartbreak had never happened, well, I'd be that guy. I'd be with her now. I wouldn't have done all the great things that I've done. Heartbreak sucks. And you do have to deal with it. And again, know when to walk away without begging or humiliating yourself, especially in this day and age of DMs and messages being recorded and stuff. And each heartbreak, like with every bad event that happens in life, sets an important marker that you eventually look back on a longer timeline, and you see the growth and the self-improvement and maybe the hypothetical scenarios that would have happened had you stayed with that person or had you not been betrayed by that person. And yeah, it serves as very important markers on a timeline. But it's only once you progress a couple years past that timeline that you could see the knowledge in it, unless you do it the wrong way and let it spiral you down the toilet of self-destruction, in which case then you're like, oh, well, that's when my life went completely wrong. So no, that's when you chose to give up. They're two very different things. A heartbreak's fantastic. I wish my heart could still be broken. That'd be nice. Well, men live for women. This is the point. Men live for women in every single way. If women didn't exist on this planet, everything about my life would be different. I'd have fast cars because I like driving. But a lot of the things that men do, a lot of the things we say, the way you dress, lots of it is about trying to attract women, trying to impress women, and trying to have women hold you in a high regard. Because if women in general hold you in a high regard, then you as a high value man have your pick of the best women on the planet. And there isn't a single red-blooded male out there in the world who doesn't like the idea of lots of different women being attracted to him. Even if he's got his wife and he's in love and it's the first girl he's ever been with and he's, I don't know, a Mormon or a Muslim or a Christian who's super involved. If you were to ask him, would you like to be unattractive to women or attractive to women just in general? He'd say attractive because it raises the impression people have of his wife, for example. So there's not a single man in the world who doesn't live for women in one way or another.
Women teach you a lot about how to get women, which is actually quite interesting. Like, they do. Women teach you a lot about how to get women themselves. If you want to piss a woman off, ignore her. Don't insult her. Just don't reply. And you should know that, because when did a woman annoy you most? She ignored you. That's right. So like, you can learn so much from them. But women are the prize, effectively. Sexual access or access to sexuality has always been a prize for men that effectively had to be earned. You had to go to war and come back with a Valor Star, or you had to be a king or something to get access to sexuality. So women were the prize up until a certain point, and then if you're a high value enough man, you can say you become the prize, blah, blah. But effectively, women are a fantastic mirror, and how women treat you tell you a lot about yourself, because women are ruthless. And if you're not a if they don't see value in you, or if they don't see value they can extract from you, you're invisible to them. You know, you can go to a nice restaurant with a girl and you can say, how many men are in here? And she'll say, 3 or 4. And she'll ignore every waiter. If they can't get something from you, you're invisible. So how women treat you in general is a good mark for how much value you openly exude. If they can instantly see value on you, they'll talk to you and treat you a certain way. People think that beautiful women are really bitchy and rude. No, they're not. They're actually very nice and soft and sweet. They're actually quite shy and insecure if you're that guy. But if you're not that guy, they're like, get the fuck away from me. Because they don't even want to bother having a conversation on any level because you don't exude enough value. So women are a mirror. They'll tell you everything you need to know about yourself. And you should pay attention to it and you should change it.
No one is ever going to give a shit about you, even 1% as much as you have to give a shit about yourself. No one cares. No one cares about you if you're a man, ever. Everything is conditional. You don't get loved unconditionally. And that's a beautiful thing, because that makes you strive to create your own value as a man. And the problem that men have is we all go from a time when everyone cares about us to a time no one does. Women don't lose it until they're maybe 45 and childless. Then they'll be like, oh, what the fuck's going on? Now she understands what it's like to become a 15, 16, 17-year-old man. Because we've gone through the stage. I remember my aunts and uncles, hey, little Tristan, I remember, you know, they all cared about me back then. Then you get to 16, 17, 18, you're out in the cold world and you're like, no one gives a fuck, do they? I can't pay my bills. I have no food. Nobody cares. Yeah, your mother and your father will care a little bit, but you have to care about them. So I'd say the duty of protection is the other way around once you become an adult, and you have to care about yourself. So the best advice I can give to anyone, especially the young men who are 13, 14, 15, who, you know, are sitting in their room playing video games and their mother's still bringing them sandwiches, you know, if she continues to care about you that much and you lean on it, you're going to be a nobody. And if she says, okay, you're 18 now, get the fuck out of my house, you're going to be a nobody until you make something of yourself. So the best advice every young man needs to hear is nobody gives a shit about you at all until you make them give a shit. People give a shit about me and Andrew now. Why? Would you have given a shit about me if I just fucking stayed in my room playing video games from age 18 till now? No, you wouldn't know who the fuck I was.
As a man, if you truly care about the world, you need to improve yourself first, because as a man, if you're not capable, your love means nothing anyway, right? You can say I'm a man and I love my dog, but if you can't feed that dog and you can't home that dog and you can't afford to take that dog to the vets and you can't protect that dog, then your love means nothing. Your love as a man is directly correlated to your competence and your capabilities. So when a man who is capable loves you, it means something. A man who's incapable loves you, it means nothing at all. So if you're incapable, not necessarily important, not necessarily financially successful person, it doesn't matter what you feel about anything, because you could be replaced and nobody gives a shit. So if you truly care about that, I guess the lesson is, if you truly care about an issue as a man, the first thing you should do is you should improve yourself. If you have a woman who you truly love, instead of buying her flowers every day, you should improve yourself. If you have a town that you truly love, instead of, I don't know what you would do, instead of telling everyone how great it is, you should improve yourself and you should start a business in that town so that there's more jobs in that town. It doesn't matter what it is. Self-improvement is the answer to showing your love for anything as a man. So when I see people say, oh yeah, I really love my girlfriend or whatever, and then I look at the guy, I say, no, you don't. Because if you did, you wouldn't be sleeping so long. You wouldn't be so insignificant. You'd be trying harder in some way. You'd be doing something. You're not doing anything. If you're not doing anything, you don't love anybody.
I would say to all the young men out there who see me as a source of inspiration, motivation, knowledge, I'd again say something similar that I said to my brother. I'd say if I exist or not, if I speak or not, if I do podcasts, if you hear my voice, it doesn't matter. You can do all of this without me as a source of motivation. Everything I've tried to say to you and everything I've tried to tell you, I've meant it because I care about not you personally, but the way that men are perceived in this world and the way men carry themselves in this world. And if you are a true fan of mine, don't get angry, don't go nuts, don't burn anything down. Don't let this become a moment in your life that spirals you down that toilet of self-destruction. You don't need me, and you can do this anyway. Best of luck.
The only shortcut to life is to never miss a day, because sometimes you get lucky, and you'll never miss a lucky day if you try every day. Because when you've come from the absolute bottom to the absolute top, and you've done it all off of your own back, and hard work and dedication and never missing a day. One, because of compounding interest. And two, if you don't try every day, you might miss your lucky day. And that's what people don't understand. If you never miss a day and you never don't try and you're always on time, was I late today? No, on time. And you try and improve every aspect of your life and you're a professional and you try and make sure that you analyze your decisions. You give yourself feedback. You don't make mistakes. You're not lazy. If you try and you make it to the top, because you look at the people down below and you're like, well, why didn't you try? I did. Oh, I did too. No, you didn't. That's a lie. Now you're lying to me and that annoys me. I believe that they have the lives they deserve because they haven't been prepared to suffer like I've suffered. If I was as lazy and incompetent as these people, I'd be like them. These people, they're not triers. I didn't even have chances that good. I wish I did. I wish I had a billionaire sitting on the internet explaining to me how the world works. I would have done anything for that. But I've never had that chance. I had to work them all out myself, take huge monumental risks, do the nearly impossible to escape. It's easier to get rich now than it's ever been. This goes back into my mentality about the kind of person who takes risks and takes action. So then people will say to me, this is what's so amazing. People say to me, oh, how do you have all these big Addies? How do you have $100 million of cars? You're so lucky. It's not luck. It's never been luck. I've been the person who took action. And if I were to tell you right now what action to take, you won't do it. So I'm not going to feel sorry for you when you fail. I'm not going to feel sorry for losers.
My life is just work, but that's boring, right? But that's the truth about it. I'm on my laptop all day, every day. I have 18 hours a day of screen time. I'm either training or I'm working. Do I know some women? Yes, of course. Do I have some fancy cars to drive? Yes. Can I go to the odd restaurant? Yes. But the majority of the time, all I do is work because that's what I enjoy to do. I don't think most things outside of work are as entertaining as the work itself. That's why I'm successful. Yeah, I do have women who I know, and yeah, I can have that crazy lifestyle, and I did it for a while. But I wouldn't even say it's empty. You know, people get successful and they start to say, oh, I'm above that. It's empty. It's empty. It's vaporous. That's true. I just don't think it's as fun as working. I think just winning is fun. I think the whole point of life as a man is competition in the first place. Life is rented. I know exactly what you're saying, but I'm saying my philosophy is that you never own anything that you're not renting anyway. Your physical health is not something you have. It's something you rent. If you don't look after it, you lose it. Just like a house. If you don't pay the rent, you lose the house. It's the same with your business. If you don't look after your business, you lose the business. You lose your money. The same with women. If you don't look after the women, you lose the women. So do you have to sit there and attribute value to each thing and work out, is this worth the extra seconds in the day to maintain it? And if I'm going to do anything, you're going to optimize it, right? Isn't that life? You go to the fight gym and you spar and you lose and you get better. You attempt to optimize it. You try and make some money. You attempt to optimize it. You attempt to grow the number of followers you have on your YouTube channel. When you go out dating women, you attempt to optimize it to get better at it. If I'm going to speak to people, I'm going to optimize it to be maximally effective. I want to be the person who can say less words than everybody else and have a larger impact. That's what I want to do. I've chosen that. I've decided to do that. I understand that to be able to do that, I also need to have a certain persona and a certain capability. It's hard to do that if I'm not financially successful. It's hard to do that if I'm physically weak. If I walk into a room and I want to bellow and I want to sit and talk in a particular manner, but I'm physically weak and broke, nobody gives a shit. But I have real world accolades. Also, a lot of my real world accolades are based on the fact that I've suffered and I'm prepared to go through difficult scenarios for the things I've said, which once again adds credence to my words.
Does happiness exist to you?
I don't think it's important. I am already happy and I'm happy all the time. Even when bad things happen, I'm always a happy person. I don't operate in the happy, sad paradigm. So to me, I'm always happy because I don't measure it. If you don't measure something, it doesn't exist. If you give attention to depression, you're depressed. If you give attention to how happy you are, you're always going to be measuring if you're happy or not that day. If you don't think about those things, they don't exist. I don't give measurement to them. Is that the heartbreak part is the best part.
Yeah.
That's the real love. The whole holding hands, everything's happy, we're out at dinner, smiling, laughing. No, that's boring. The true memory of love, the actual real fun part of the love is the part where you feel the deepest, and you feel the deepest when it goes wrong. And we can apply that to everything. That's the funnest part of life. Funnest part of life. It's never fun at the time, but in retrospect, when you want to use hindsight and analyze your entire life via the lens of your mind, when you go back in time, those bad times are the best times. Yeah. Because I believe as a man, chasing happiness is probably the most asinine thing you can do. It's the easiest way to lose as a man is to chase happiness. What will make me happy is not how you win as a man. How you win as a man is, I don't care how I feel, what must be done. And really the only thing that's fun in life is work. The only thing that's fun is the thing that made you rich in the first place. That's the reason it made you rich, because you found it fun. There are no fun activities to do once you're rich. The only thing you can really do is slow things down. So a poor person has a 1 hour lunch. I'm allowed a 4 hour lunch. Great.
You can add some time to things, but I don't know. I see there are some other rich people who, they get enamored by wine and they think that giving their life to tasting different grapes is somehow not a complete waste of consciousness, but they're dipshits. And that's why they're not important. And that's why no one knows who they are. So when I talk to other millionaires and like, oh yeah, I'm going to wine. I like to spend my time wine. Well, then you go do that. Life is it's a game. We're living in a simulation. And if you want a high score, you have to choose the highest difficulty. So I want a high score. A lot of these people, especially people who talk about Zen and Stoicism, etc., I distrust. And this isn't specifically about him. This is about all of these people, because they'll sit in a beautiful field with green grass in Bali and they'll put on a stupid robe and they'll sit there and they'll do this and they'll say, I'm Zen. My mind is great. You're in a beautiful field in Bali. Of course you're Zen. What are you going to be upset about? It's sunny. It's not even raining. You have nothing to complain about. Go and be Zen in a trench in Ukraine. Then show me your Zen. If you're so Zen and you're so fantastic with your mind, any of these people, I openly challenge you, considering you're all physically incapable, go do an MMA fight and get the shit kicked out of you. Go and you know you're going to lose because you're a pussy. I know you're going to lose. You know you're going to lose. He's going to hurt you, but you're Zen. Show me the power of your mind. Go get your ass whooped. Oh no, you're scared. You won't do that. You won't go get in the cage and get grounded and pounded. I thought you were Zen. Turns out you're only Zen when everything's fine. That's not Zen. It's not Zen to be Zen when everything's fine. So all these people with their spoiled little privileged lives and their yoga retreats. Oh, I feel so great in my yoga retreat. Oh, you feel so great. One of the most idyllic locations on the planet. Eating food that's prepared for you. You feel great. Wow. Mental control. For the clown show. It's a clown show. If these people were truly who they wanted to pretend they are, they'd be in the trenches somewhere. The UFC fighter has more Zen when he's getting punched in the face in front of all these people, in front of his screaming wife, worried about him losing consciousness forever. When he's taking shots to the face and still avoiding them and keeping a clear enough mind to slip the punches. So all these people are full of shit, because if they were truly Zen, they'd live a life similar to mine. But they don't. I ain't lonely. I've never been lonely. I've never been lonely. You don't know me. I've never been lonely. I had no money and I was never lonely. And I don't think it's possible for anybody to stay in a scenario where they're truly uncomfortable. If you fall asleep on your arm and your arm really starts to hurt, even in the deepest sleep, you're going to wake up and move your arm. If you sit there and your life has been in a rut for 7 years, you are semi-comfortable in that rut. Sure, there's days you're pissed off. Sure, you're semi-annoyed by it. But there's also days where you just play video games, eat pizza, and you're kind of cool with it and it's no big deal. If you were truly unhappy and uncomfortable and discontent with your scenario, you wouldn't be in it. When I was broke, I couldn't sleep. Please understand me. When I was broke, I couldn't sleep. I'd be trying to go to bed thinking, these people have Ferraris. I want a Ferrari. I couldn't sleep. I just understood that there was a version of reality that I had yet to experience. I saw my parents struggle to pay the bills, and I saw my friends struggle to pay the bills, and I saw everyone around me unable to eat. And then I saw certain people with $500,000 cars, and I understood there must be a different version of reality. There must be a version of making money, a version of banking, of finance. There has to be a different world. This world I'm in, everyone's poor. This is garbage. That world, I can see people are living a reality that I can't even fathom. I'm under the mentality that you are exactly not where you deserve to be. That is one version of reality. That's one version of events. And although that's true, I want to put it in a different way. You're exactly where you wish to be in life. Even if you think you are not happy where you are, I can promise you are. Because if you're truly uncomfortable, you can't even sleep. If I put you on spikes, you can't lay down. You only lay down even if you're semi-comfortable. What I often hear from people and see from people is that they get very motivated for short periods of time. They'll be very motivated to change their life for 3 hours, and then they'll just go back to playing video games. And they're actually not unhappy with their life. They're fine to play video games and eat beans on toast and sit around in a small little apartment. They only become unhappy for a few hours now and again. That's when they talk about how motivated they are. That's when they talk about how hard they want to try. But in general, they're actually perfectly fine with their life, meaning they wish to be there. If they wished to be anywhere else, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. And by extension, they would be exactly where they wish to be. I want you to understand at home, whether you're successful or unsuccessful, you wish to be where you are. If you wished to be big, you'd be big.
you would train all day, every day. There is no such thing as wanting to be big and wishing to be big truthfully and not being big. If you say to a man, do you want to be bigger? They'll all say yes. But do they really wish for it? Oh, you'll take it for free. Well, you'll take anything for free. You'll take a Toyota Corolla for free, but you won't buy one. Taking something for free is very different than going out there and earning it and paying for it. They're very different things. So you're as big as you wish to be. You're as rich as you wish to be. You live where you wish to live. Because truthfully, when you wish for something with all of your heart, never in history has the universe or God failed to give it to you. Anything you've ever truly wished for in your entire life, you have gotten 100% of the time. So then the logical extension of this mindset is you have to analyze and decide, one, why you wish to be where you currently are. Why? And two, if you want to change that, where you actually genuinely wish to be. Because you have to make sure you really want it. Everyone will say they want to have $100 million. Everyone will say it, but it's not true. And if you don't wish for it, you're never going to get it. And in fact, you won't even elevate from your current position unless you're more realistic with your wish and say, I don't want 100 million. I just want 1 million. That's my advice.
The most important thing in the world is health, because you have nothing if you're dying. Second thing is family and friends who you love. And the third is money, because it's everything else. The smartest thing the rich people ever did was convince the broke people that money doesn't make you happy. Biggest scam alive, because money is freedom. It's freedom to drive what you want, eat where you want, go where you want. Money is freedom. So you want to say money doesn't buy happiness, well then you're saying you're happy to be a slave, because only money is going to give you freedom. So money absolutely is happiness, because freedom is a bare minimum requisite to happiness. I can't think of many scenarios where being rich was a detriment over being poor. There's not many. I think money is a bare minimum requirement for happiness, especially if you're a masculine man who wants to outcompete. Then you need money, because money is basically everything. And they've convinced people, the poor people, oh yeah, he has money, but you know, I have friends and family who love me. So do I. People are psyoped into thinking that rich people are somehow lacking somewhere else. And I'm sure some of them are, but not all of them. There are some people that have everything. You're just gonna have to accept it. Some people just have it all. They have friends and family and good relationships and love their kids and a bunch of money. And if that doesn't anger you to get up and make a bunch of money, well, I don't know what will. The solutions I've come up with in my mind, of course, are money, because money is power. I want people to understand that when we talk about how money is the root of all evil. Money is also the root of all good. Money is the vested time and interest of other humans. If you have a bunch of money, you have the stored energy of other people. I'll give you a very simple example. I have money, so I can get somebody to sweep my floor. I have their stored time and energy in a note or on a bank balance where I can make them sweep a floor for as many hours as I so choose, because I can afford to pay them. It's the stored time and energy of other people. So for evil to be done, it requires the time and energy of humans. And for good to be done, it requires the time and energy of humans. So money is like gunpowder. It can be used for good. It can be used for bad. It's like germ theory. You can save people's lives, or you can create a pathogen that decimates a populace. So it can go both ways. Money is certainly an answer, because if you're completely broke, it's hard for you to influence other people and influence the world by extension. So money is super important. And the other thing I think is important is fraternity and brotherhood and living for something larger than just money itself. I've never in my life seen anyone who's determined to get something not get it. I've never seen somebody who is determined in their heart to get something, not get it. The universe and God is so giving and providing. People think it's difficult out here. I disagree. I've never seen someone wake up and say, nah, this is all I care about. This is all I want. Not get it. Everyone who thought that way in fighting was a world champion. Everyone who thought that way about money was rich. I've never seen anyone fail. Bro, I've seen people with no credit score and no job determined to get an R8 manage to get one on finance somehow. I've seen it. If it's all you want, you're going to get it.
You're going to find a way to
You're going to find a way.
Yeah.
People go, oh, I want this. If you wanted it, you'd have it. People often say, if you try your best, it's okay to fail. But what they don't understand, the true secret to the universe is that if you try your best, you never fail.
Yeah.
That's what people don't understand. And most people aren't trying. They aren't trying. They don't know what trying is. People are genuinely not out here giving their absolute best, because if you were, you'd have everything you've ever desired. You'd have anything you've ever wanted and asked for. Instead, what people do is they cope and convince themselves they're trying. Oh, I tried, but I need a work-life balance, and it's hard, and I was trying. All garbage, all code. I can't stop myself working as a person who doesn't need money. And then there's people with no money who don't work. It blows my mind, which is why the winners are winners and the losers are losers. Losers do a little bit of work and rest. Winners work as hard as possible and worry they're not working hard enough. It's just a separation of personality types. I have something I sent in my email recently. I said, you could give the average man a brand new Ferrari and a road map and a coffee and a full tank of gas and tell him the destination, success. And halfway along the drive, he'll quit because it's too far. No matter how well you set it up for people, they'll quit. It's over 10% into the year now. I wonder if anyone who made a New Year's resolution sits and says, it's over 10% into the year. Am I at 10% of my goal? Because your ass said you were going to be a millionaire when you were drunk on New Year's Eve. Well, you need to have 100 grand saved. Do you have 100,000? Have you even done the feedback on your own goal you made 30 short days ago to realize that you're nowhere near it and you're not going to make it? No. Oh, I got the rest of the year. And then wonder why they fail. You should have a daily target. Not enough people look back on what they did and identify where they made a mistake. And some people will do it when they lose. But the true professionals do it when they win. When my dad was playing a chess game, if he won the game, he would still analyze the game and see if he could have lost, where it could have gone wrong, how he could have won faster, what mistakes he did make, what he did well, what he did wrong, win or lose. So many people will sit in a scenario where everything went wrong and go, in fact, correction, not so many people. I would say 75% of people will not ever self-analyze the situation they're in, they'll blame everyone else. If they went to jail like I did, they'd say, they put me in jail because they're liars and the Matrix did it. Fine. True. But when I was in jail, I was like, how did I get here? What did I do? What did I say? Who did I piss off? What institutions want me in jail? What did I do that angered them? Me. I'm taking absolute self-accountability for everything. I'm not blaming anything else, because if I blame everything else, I have no control. If I blame myself, then I can influence it. I have control over it. So 75% of people blame other people or they blame other things. I lost my business because of COVID. No, you lost your business because of you. I lost my girl because her friends were No, you lost your girl because of you. You lost your car because of you. And it's all your fault, because that's the only thing that gives you control and power. The other 10%, we said 75, that's 85, now it has to be much higher. Let's say the other 20%, which brings up to 95% of total populace, will look at a situation in which they lose and they might self-analyze and they might try and learn from the loss, and they'll try and find the feedback involved in the loss to make sure they don't lose again, which is obviously better than not analyzing at all.
At all, yeah.
And the top 5%, the absolute highest echelon, are people who are going to analyze every decision they've ever made, win or lose. I analyze my wins as well.
See where you went right.
See where I went right, see where I went wrong, see where it worked. You need to analyze your whole life. Your life needs to be feedback. You know, I always found the one thing that was always amazing to me, and this happened to me even just the other day. I'll be driving one of my 59 Supercross, and it's raining, and it's dark, and it's cold. And I see people at a bus stop, and I'm at the traffic light. It's freezing, and it's raining, and it's nighttime, and you can't afford an Uber. If that won't motivate you, I don't know what will. Because the worst thing about the bus isn't the bus, it's the time you wait for the bus. Time is money. You're gonna stand there for 45 minutes in the freezing cold and waste your time to save a couple dollars on an Uber, and you don't feel panic to get rich? This is another thing that's amazing to me about motivation. I don't feel motivated. Neither do I sometimes. You're not going to always feel like doing it. You have to do it anyway because it's your duty to do it, because you don't want to be a fucking loser. That's the whole point. If you felt like doing it all the time, then there would be no magic to it. The magic is that you do it regardless of how you feel. What do you mean you need motivation? You don't need motivation. You have a duty to not be a loser anymore because the hole in the sky is closing. I think most normal people understand. If you were to ask them how's the economy, they'd say, well, it's impossible. I can't pay for my bills. I can't pay to eat. I can't afford a house. I can barely afford my mortgage. I'm never going to get rich this way. They understand all of this, but they're not panicking. And people are sitting here now going, oh yeah, the economy's bad, but maybe if we vote for this person, who are you going to vote for that's going to put money in your pocket actually come along and say, here's money? Nobody. Still got to pay your council tax, still a brokey, nobody cares. No one you vote for is going to change it. It's going to get worse. It's going to continue. And you know the boat is going to sink and you're not panicking. That's why I kind of catch myself. And one of the things I try very hard not to do is become elitist. Because when you've come from the absolute bottom to the absolute top, and you've done it all off of your own back, and hard work and dedication and never missing a day. The only shortcut to life is to never miss a day. One, because of compounding interest, and two, because sometimes you get lucky. And you'll never miss a lucky day if you try every day. If you don't try every day, you might miss your lucky day. And that's what people don't understand. If you never miss a day and you never don't try and you're always on time, was I late today? No, on time, and you try and improve every aspect of your life, and you're a professional, and you try and make sure that you analyze your decisions, you give yourself feedback, you don't make mistakes, you're not lazy. If you try and you make it to the top, you end up elitist, because you look at the people down below and you're like, well, why didn't you try? I did. I think men are happy when they feel better. I think we're naturally competitive. That's why we've always done what we've done. Why did Genghis Khan need Vienna? Bro, that's Austria. Look at that. Why did he need Vienna? It took him probably 3 months to even hear they were at Vienna. By the time he got the message, they probably already conquered it. Why did he need it? Because he won. Why do I need the stuff I had? Because other people can't have it. It's mine. And I think that's where masculine happiness comes from. Because I think men are happy when they feel respected. And you're going to respect yourself if you look around and you have things other people don't have. Why do I walk into the showroom and buy the 2 available cars that I don't want? Because it's one man's dream and now another man can't buy it. Why do you play sports?
To win.
To win. Why do you want to put a ball in a net more times than the other people? To show that you're better than them at putting a ball in a net. How insignificant an action. A ball in a net. Who cares? A much more significant action would be making a bunch of money, or being physically stronger, or a better fighter, or being smarter, a quicker talker, or being more well-known, more respected, more influential. That's far more important than putting a ball in the net. And you'll spend your time putting a ball in the net to prove you're better than other people. So don't sit and say that I'm a bad person for proving I'm better than everyone else by all the things I'm doing. That's masculine competition. If there's a game being played, and some men realize it's a battle, and some men don't realize there's a battle going on, how can they possibly win? So some of you men are waking up every day not realizing you're in a forever permanent competition with every single man around you. For everything. All of the time. And that doesn't ever cross your mind and you wonder why you permanently lose. Well, it crosses my mind and that's why I'm beating you. Women want the men who think this way. Women want the men who understand this. Who win. That's what women want. So, you can call it arrogant. You can call it egotistical. I call it winning. I call it realism. I call it realistic. And the best things about having most of the things I have is that other people can't have them. That's the bottom line of it. It's the reason why billionaires buy a bigger yacht than the billionaire next to them. They do not need an extra 20 feet of deck space. They want the biggest yacht in the harbor. It's the reason why they buy one of one Picassos. It's the reason why when Bugatti launch a new car with 80 units, they're all sold same day. That's why. Because winners all think the same way. And anyone who sits and goes, well, you should be more humble. I hear that sometimes. And then I look at who said it. And whenever someone tells me their opinion, this is a habit I give everyone at home. Whenever somebody gives you their opinion on anything, listen to the opinion and then stop and look at who told it to you. Because you never want to adopt the thinking of somebody who you don't want to be. Because their thinking made them. So whatever they believe in their mind is why they are the person they are. So if somebody sits and says to you, you should be more humble. I sit and think, okay, this is how my brain works. He believes I should be more humble. That's how his mind operates. The closer my mind operates to his mind, the more likely I am to be like him. Who is he? And I'll look at the person who said that to me and say, no way. Because most people who talk about humble, all they really want is to not be reminded of how they have failed. They don't want me to make it clear to them that they have failed. They have failed. I feel like normalcy has been changed from being a winner to being a loser. In the 60s, you could be a normal man who worked in a factory, an unskilled labor job, and with one wage, you could afford a house, you could afford a car, you could afford to raise a family, your children would not be taught garbage in school, your wife would respect you, you'd have a home-cooked meal.
Times were good.
Times were good. All the things I said about playing Uno earlier, in hyperbole are true. What matters most? Your wife loves you. You're respected as the breadwinner. Your kids respect you. They listen to you. Your house is clean. Your house is safe. Your car works. Your life is good. So now being normal is just losing in a way which is so familiar to the people around you are losing that you don't realize you've lost it all. Because everyone's losing. So you're like, oh, I'm just normal. No, you've all lost. You've all lost. None of you are free. You're all lost. And that's even more scary. You can't even be normal anymore. To be a winner, you have to be exceptional. You could be a winner as a normal person only 50, 60 years ago. Now the normal people can't even win. So you need to be able to do amazing things and then be proud of yourself. Don't sit and think you're great for no reason. That is arrogance. I'd argue that the normal person who thinks they're so unique and great for no reason is more arrogant than me. The problem with most people in the world today is not that they do a normal thing, it's that they do a normal thing and they don't try to be the best at it. So you can be a barista and you can just make coffees, or you can be a barista that makes the fancy coffees and can turn over all the cups and do like the tricks and all the garbage. We have a man who became a billionaire from salt.
Yes.
From salt. You can all put salt on, he did it the best. Bam. So the first thing you need to do is get very good at making coffees. That's the first thing you need to do. Be able to do it in a fancy way. Then you need to solicit attention. When you can make coffees in a fancy way, you can hire a videographer. You can then begin to make fancy coffees in a fancy way, and you can make it look good with a finalized product, and you can get a nice video made that's well cut with some fancy music. You can begin to put them on Instagram and solicit people to watch your Instagram page. Now you have attention. How do you then turn that attention into money after you began to show your fancy coffees? Well, you could, let's say, put together a course or an academy or write a book on the magic of coffee or the secrets of coffee. And you would put a mystery on it. Don't say, I'll teach you how to make coffee. No, say the secrets of coffee. You'd have a link in your Instagram page, and it would be $9, and it would tell people the secrets how to make coffee, for example. You'd start to sell that for $9. You'd make a couple hundred or a couple thousand, not too much, but you continue to make fancy coffees. People continue to go to your Instagram page. You're now selling the secrets of how to make coffee. Then, after people start knowing you as being a barista, you start to make these $9. You have $20,000, $30,000 in the bank. What you can do is launch your own coffee brand. You can go to Alibaba.com, you can find some coffee beans, you can put your face on it because your face is now a recognized brand. You can get your own coffee beans, you can begin to sell them on Instagram. Before you know it, you're making $10,000 or $15,000 a month. You can start to do tours. You can start to put posters on your Instagram or in your Instagram stories saying, I'm going to do master classes on how to make coffee, 20 people only, $1,000 each at this premium barista specialty coffee shop in London. The coffee shop will allow you to do it for free because they want people to know, get the advertising from you and your brand. You'll charge $1,000 each. That's 20 grand for a day. They teach people how to pour milk in a cup. Boom. You've got a coffee brand. You've got an online school. You're doing seminars. You put in a little bit of effort. Now you drive a Ferrari. Done. It is that easy to get rich in the world today if you actually try. Instead, you'll go to work every day, make the coffees, go home, off. Some people are so lazy that they will work every day instead of get rich. And they think because they're working every day that they're not lazy. Everything I just told you about that could work for an electrician. Same thing. Teach people how to wire a plug. Who gives it? You'll make some money if you try. So I think the best mental model of a man is to understand that you cannot be normal. You need to be exceptional. You need to do exceptional things. That ties into the exceptionally good and the exceptionally bad, like we talked earlier. Which means you need to be hard on yourself so you can deal with the exceptionally bad. And if you start to do all these things, they all compound. Everything I've said across all these hours all tie into each other, and you end up in one result. You end up in one place, which is brutal competence, brutal masculine competence. There's nowhere else to be. Nothing will save you besides your own brutal competence. Or I believe that getting rich is one of the best things you can possibly do to help save the world.